Good morning. It's Friday morning, Parshas Vayikra, and I'm going to record some Chumash-Rashi. We didn't quite get to Shishi yesterday. We got to Perik Dalid, Pasuk Chav Beis. We started talking about Chatois, Karbanos Chatos, and we did two Chatois called Chatois Pnimiyos. They're called Chatois Pnimiyos because Pnim means inside, and the blood of the Korban Chatos is brought inside the oil moed, and you spray the blood 7 times towards the paroiches and 4 times on the corners of the golden mizbeach. The rest of then you took out the emurim, the special parts that you burn on the mizbeach, and the rest of it was burnt outside of 3 machnes. The 2 korbanos we learned about yesterday was the Par Kayin HaMashiach, the bull that belongs to the Kohen Gadol, when he ruled on a loisasei, which carries chorus, and it was done b'shaygi, or the Par Helam Dover Shel Sibur, the bull brought when Sanhedrin rules that something is permitted, and the people did it based on their ruling. We now start a series of chatois chitzonios. The reason they're called chitzonios is because the blood is applied on the 4 corners of the outside mizbeach, chitzon, outside. The pasuk says, "Asher nasi yechda," if a nasi sins, v'asa, and he does achas migal mitzvahs Hashem elokav asher lo yisei, he violates one of the commands of Hashem, his God, that should not be done. It's again lo yisasei, a prohibition which carries chorus if you do it intentionally, but he does it bishgaga, he does it unintentionally, v'ashem, but now he's guilty. Rashi, Asher nasi yechta. What's with the word Asher? Loshen Ashrei. It's a language of fortunate. Ashrei Hador, fortunate is a generation, Sha'nasi Shaloi Noisen Lev, that its Nasi, its leader, its either king, is willing to take into consideration, Lavi Kapar al Shigigazai, and he's going to bring a korban of atonement in case he did something unintentionally. Kal v'chaimer, for sure, Shemizcharet al Zdainaisa, for sure he'll apologize or he'll look for atonement if he does a sin intentionally. So it's very special that you have a leader that's willing to admit that he's done something wrong. Pasuk Chav Gimel, Ay Hayda Elav Chatasai. The word Ay here means when. When he realizes that he sinned, Asher Chataba, that he sinned. Behavias Karbanai Sirizim Zachar Tamim. His korban is a young goat, a male, of course, or a chatas. In his case, it's a male, and tamim without a physical defect. So, beware that the nasi brings a male goat. It's different than a regular individual. Rashi, ay haida k'may im haida. Im means not only if, but it means when. Harbe ay sheyesh shemishamshim b'loshen im. Many times ay means when, and ve'im sometimes it says the word im b'mokem ay. V'chein ay noida kishar nagachu, which means when the owner finds out that his ox has gored before. Haida ilav, the nasi realizes, kishachata yisaver shu heter, when he sinned he thought it was allowed. Ulachar mikan, afterwards, naidaloi she'israi, afterwards he realizes that what he did was prohibited. Pasuk Chav Daled, v'samach yadai al rosh hasoyer, he should do smicha on the head of the goat, laying his hands, v'shachat oisai b'mkayim asher yishchat es ha'oila, and he should slaughter it in the same place that he slaughtered the oila. We've talked about this a number of times, that since a chatas is a type of korban called kachik kadoshim, so shchitasan batzafain, you slaughter it on the north side of the Azora, the way you did the oila. Lefnei Hashem, before Hashem, chatas hu, it is a chatas. Rashi, b'mkayim asher yishchat es oila batzafain, in the north, shehu mefurish ba'oila, as it says regarding the korban oila. Chatas hu, lishmoi kosher, very important. A chatas has to be slaughtered for its name, for the owner and for the korban that it is, and only then is it kosher. But if you shecht it shaloi lishma, either for the wrong owner or for the wrong korban, puzzle, it is disqualified. And that's a special halacha by chatas. The kohen takes from the blood of the chatas with his finger. Here he does not throw the blood against the corner from the utensil, the way you did with an ola and a shlamim. Here you take with the finger, v'nasan, and puts it al karnois mizbach oila, on the corners, on the top corners of the mizbech oila, v'ezdama yishbach, and the rest of the blood you pour al yisaid mizbach oila, to the base of the Mizbeach Ha'olah, Rashi ve'ez damai, shiore hadam, the rest of the blood after you've applied 4 times on the 4 corners. But again, if you have a sefer in front of you, and you start from your bottom right-hand corner, it goes from the bottom right-hand corner to the top right-hand corner, to the top left-hand corner, to the bottom left-hand corner. And then now at the bottom, which is the Dorim side, he pours out the blood at the base on the Dorim side, which is closest to west. And v'skol chel b'yaktir ha-mizbecha k'chelev zevach hashlamim, and all the chelev, all the membranes, he burns on the mizbech the way you do of a shlamim. V'chipar lev ha-kohen mechatosai, and the kohen will atone for him from his sin, from the nasi's sin. V'nislach lo, and he'll be forgiven. Rashi k'chelev zevach hashlamim ka'osan emurim ha-mefurashin be'ez ha'omer etzel shlamim. The same parts that were described regarding a goat when we talked about a shlamim. Now the reason Rashi mentions the word goat is because the keves, we learned, had a special part of the emurim, the alya, the fat part near the tail. Now we're going to talk about the korbanos of an individual, not a nasi, not a king. If a soul sins, bishgoga, unintentionally, mi'am ha'aretz, from the common people, he did one of the commands of Hashem that is prohibited, that you should not do, and is guilty. Again, oy here means when he realizes the sin that he sinned. Behavior korbana, his korban is siras izim, a female goat, tmima, without any physical defect, nekeva, female, al chatas hashechata, for the sin that he sinned. V'samachas yoda, resh hachatas, he does smich on the head of the chatas, and confessing for the sin that he did. V'shachat es hachatas b'mkaim ha'olah, and again you shech the chatas on the north side of the Azorah, where you shech the oila, because it is kadshe kadoshim. L'lakach kain, again the kain takes midama betzboy, from the blood with his finger. He has the blood in the utensil, dips his finger into it. V'nosan al karnes mizbach ha'olah, and he places it on the 4 corners of the outside mizbeach, the same thing he did before with the chatas nasi. And the blood he pours to the base of the mizbeach, and as I explained before, after doing the circuit of the 4 corners, he pours it on the south side, of the base of the south side. But which part of the south side base? Part of the south side base that's closest to west. And he removes all the membranes as you remove the membranes from a shlomim. The kind burns it on the mizbeach, as a pleasing smell to Hashem, that God's will was done. And the kain will forgive upon him, and he will be forgiven. Rashi kasher husar chaylev mi'al zevach hashlamim, the way you remove the membranes of a shlamim, be'emurei eiz hamurim b'shlamim. Since he's bringing a female goat, then it has the same emurim as the goat of a shlamim, and once again repeating, it has the same emurim but no alya. The fat part of the tail is only removed, is only brought on the mizbeach if it's a keves, and that's the next parasha. Vim keves yovi korban lechatas, and if the man who sinned is bringing a lamb for his korban chatas, in a keva, a female it must be, tamima, without a physical defect, yiviana, he should bring it. The samachas yoda arosh chatas, and again he does smicha, he puts his hands on the head of the chatas and confesses his sin. V'shachat oisel lechatas, and he slaughters it with the intent that it's a chatas. And I'm repeating, the same place where you shech the oila, on the north side of the Azorah. Rashi v'shachat oisel lechatas, again Rashi emphasizes, shatei shchitaso l'shem chatas, you must slaughter it with the intent that it's a korban chatas. And again the kain takes from the blood of the chatas with his finger, the nasan, and he places it al karnes mizbach oila, on the 4 corners of the outside mizbeach. Again he does the circuit from the corner of south and east, which is your bottom right-hand corner, around until he gets to the corner of south and west, which is the bottom left-hand corner. And the rest of the blood he pours on the south side base, for the one that's closest to west. And all the chaylev, all the membranes he removes, like you remove in the case of a lamb. And here it's already with the extra alya. Victor HaKoyin Oisam HaMizbecha, the Kohen burns it on the Mizbech, Al Ishe Hashem, where the fire offerings, where the fires of God, there's a Madura, there's a fire going on the Mizbech, the Chipur Lavakan Al Chatas HaShechata, and the Kohen will forgive upon the man who sinned from the sin that he sinned, V'nislach lo, and he will be forgiven. Rashi kasher yusar chelav hakesef. Rashi again emphasizes there's a difference between the membranes of a lamb, shenisrabu emurav ba'alya, because in a lamb, the emurim, the parts that you burn on the mizbech, have an additional alya. Avchatas, same with the chatas. Kshiba kizba, when you bring a lamb, tuna alya ima emurim. It requires, tuna means it requires an alya, the fat part of the tail, to be burnt on the mizbech together with the rest of the emurim. Alisha Hashem, Amaduras Ha'esh V'Asuyas Lashem, on the bonfires, on the mizbech that are made for God. Now, Perek Hey Pasuk Aleph, we start something more technical. Till now, the chatas was called the chatas kavua. Kavua means it's fixed. You bring a female lamb or a female goat, and there are no bargains. Now we're going to learn about three special sins, and these three sins also have a korban chatas, but it's going to be a variable. If you can afford, you can bring a female lamb or goat. If you can't afford, you'll bring two birds, and if you can't afford that, you can bring a mincha, a flour offering. But these three sins need to be described specifically. V'nefesh kisechta, if a soul will sin, v'shama, and he hears koil Allah, the sound of adjurement. Adjurement means that somebody put an oath on him, somebody made him swear. Because v'hu eid, he's a witness. Ayra, either he saw, a yada, or he's aware of testimony, and then he denies. He says, I don't know anything. He swears falsely. Im lo yagid v'nasa avaynai. If he doesn't tell, then he's carrying a sin. Rashi v'shama kol Allah v'hu eid b'davar shu eid by something where he is a real witness. Shehish biyuhu shvua. They put a shvua on him. They put an oath on him. Shem yodei loy b'eidus sheyoid loy. That if he knows testimony, that he should testify. That's sin number one. Now comes sin number two. Or a person who touches anything that's tamei, or the carcass of a dead beast, the carcass of a dead regular animal, or the carcass of a crawling thing which makes you tamei when you touch it. And then he's not aware that he was tamei, but he is tamei, and he was guilty. What is his guilt? Becoming tamei is not guilt. But becoming tamei and going into the mikdash or eating from the parts of a korban, that is guilt. Rashi, and after having become tamei, he eats from a korban, or he enters the mikdash. Shu davar, this is a sin shezdaina karis, that if you would do this intentionally, when you're tamei, you would go into the mikdash or eat kadoshim, you'd be chayiv karis. But Masechta Shavuos nidrish kain. In Shavuos, the Gemara explains or proves that that's what the pasuk is talking about. V'nela mimenu atuma, and then the man forgot that he was tamei, and v'ashem, and then he became guilty by chilas kaidish abubiyas migdash, either by eating from a korban or entering the migdash. The pasuk continues, Gimel, Akiyiga b'tumas adam, or he touched the tumah of a person, l'chol tumasa ashayitmaba, any tumah that a person can contract. V'nela mimenu, and then he forgot he was tamei, v'huyada, now he realizes that he went into the migdash or ate kadoshim, v'ashem, and he's guilty. Rashi b'tumas adam, zutumat met, perhaps he became tamei from a corpse. L'chol tumasa, any tumah, the rabbi is coming to include tumas maga zavin v'zavos, if he was touched by a male zav or a female zava. Asher yitma, that a man can become tamei. The rabbi is to include hanageya, somebody who touches beboel nida. He touched a man who had relations with a woman who had her period. And the word ba, the rabbis comes to include baileya, somebody who swallows a kazayis of nivlas ayftohar, of a kosher bird, but instead of being slaughtered, it died or was killed. So when you eat a kazayis of that, you also become tamei. And one more time, all these are various ways of contracting tumah. B'nelam, and then he forgets, v'uyada, and now he realizes it. Sheshachach hatum, he forgot that he was tamei. V'ashem, and now he's guilty. B'achilas kaidish, abibiyas migdash, and now he's guilty either for having eaten kaidish or entered the migdash. So far we've learned two sins: the man who swore that he didn't know testimony, or the man who unintentionally went into the migdash or ate kadoshim when he was in a state of tumah. Now comes sin number 3. Pasuk Dalid, Nefesh kisishava levate b'sfasayim, a person who swears and expresses with his lips, lahara or lahetiv, either for the negative or the positive. He swears not to do something or to do something. L'chola sheyavate adam b'shvua, anything that a person might express with an oath. V'nelam mimenu, then he forgot his oath. V'huyada, but now he realizes it. But meanwhile, v'ashem, meanwhile he was guilty because he violated his oath unintentionally. and now he's guilty la'achas me'ela to one of these above three sins. Rashi b'svasayim v'loy b'leiv. To make a shvua, it only counts if you say it with your lips, not with your heart. Either lahara la'atzmai, to do something negative to himself, like maybe not to eat, or lahetiv la'atzmai, or something positive for himself. Kugan oichel, he swears he's going to eat, v'loy oichel, or not to eat. Ishan, he swears to sleep, v'loy ishan, or not to sleep. L'chol asher yivate, anything that he might express. L'rabba is l'sha'avar. It means, what happens if he swears that yesterday he ate, but when he makes the shvu, he doesn't realize that it's not true. He thinks he ate. Or he swears that yesterday he didn't eat, and he doesn't realize when he makes the shvuah that he really did. So sometimes you can swear about the future and unintentionally violate the shvuah by not keeping your word, or sometimes you swear about the past unintentionally. You're making a mistake because you don't realize what it was you did or didn't do. V'nela mimenu v'avar al shvuasai, and he forgets and he violates the shvuah. Kol eila b'korban oila v'yared. All these have a carbon called olive yored. It can rise to an animal and it can descend down to a flower offering, kimufurish kan, like it's explained here. But when you swear and you deny that you owe somebody money when you really do, it's not going to be a chatas olive yored, it's going to be a korban asham, which is at the end of the parsha. And if he's guilty of one of the three above mentioned sins, he must confess the sin that he did. And he brings a guilt offering. It's not a korban asham, it's a chatas. The pasuk says ashamai because it's a sin. So he brings for a sin offering al chatas hashechata for the sin that he sinned, if he can afford. Nekeva, a female menatzain from ovine animals. Kizba isiras izin, either a female lamb or a female goat lechatas for korban chatas. Lechipra levakai mechatasa, and the kayin atones for him from his sin. Now comes stage B. If he does any of those three sins, and if his hand cannot reach, he can't afford enough for a small lamb or goat, then he brings for his guilt offering that he sinned, either 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, Lashem, to God. One will be a korban chatas and one will be an olah. I skipped. Back to Chumash. He brings the 2 birds to the kayin. You give him the korban chatas first. The kayin does malika again, like we learned by the oila sa'if. He cuts with his fingernail in back of the neck, mimul orpai, by the nape of the neck. Velo yavdil, but here he doesn't cut both simanim. He doesn't cut the trachea and the esophagus. He only cuts one of them. Rashi, of the 2 birds, the chatas should come before the oila. What is this similar to? The praklit, shenichnas l'ratzais. An advocate comes to advocate for his client. Ritza praklit nichnas daran achrov. Only after the advocate has gotten forgiveness, then you bring presents. You have to bring the chatas first for your sin before you bring an oil as a present. V'lo yavdil, when he does malika, eina molik ala siman echad. Again, he cuts through the spine, but whereas by the oila, you have to cut both simanim, the trachea and the esophagus. Here you only molik one siman, only one of them. Eirif hu gaiva harosh hamashpia letzadat savor. It's the back of the head, but the height of the head that slants towards the neck. Mul eirif means mul haroyas eirif. It's the back of the throat, which is just below the nape. It's the entire length of the back of the throat. You have to spray from the blood of the chatas on the wall of the mizbeach. And the rest of the blood is squeezed over the base of the mizbeach. It is a korban chatas. Very important. If you remember, with the oila sa'if, the bird, all you did was squeeze the bird against the mizbeach. Ubechatas, regarding the chatas, it's hazah umitzui. You both spray from the bird against the mizbeach, and then following that, you squeeze it. Oichas ba'irif, he holds the neck, umatis and sprays. Ba'adam nitas ba'ilach l'mizbeach. The blood is sprayed on the mizbeach, and only afterwards do you squeeze it against the mizbeach. Chatas hu, again, lishmak sheirish, lo lishmak psula. As Rashi said before regarding the chatas behema, if you slaughter it for the right owner and the right name, it's kosher. But if you do it for the wrong name, wrong owner, or wrong korban, it is possible. V'sasheni yas oila kamishpat. The second bird you make an oila as the judgment of an oila is v'chipar lavakay mechatas ashechata v'nislach loy, and the kain will atone for the man from the sin that he sinned, and he'll be forgiven. Kamishpat, Rashi says, kedas hamura ba'oilas oiv, like the law which was said by the oilas oiv shel nedava when you gave it as a donation, b'reisha parsha, the beginning of the parsha. So from here to the end is yours. What you're going to learn now is the low end of oilav yard, the mincha. Then you're going to learn about an asham v'ilois, if you use something of hegdish unintentionally. Then you're going to learn about asham toli, if you're not sure whether you violated a chatas, and an asham gezelos, where you swear falsely, and you say you don't owe money when you do. So you have the low end of an oil of yard coming, the mincha, and 3 kinds of ashamas. I hope everybody's healthy and well. I hope you had a reasonably good week and a good Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Be well. Okay, bye.